to go after the source of the guns. We have black elected officials who know what's happening in our community. Not one of them will whisper a word about going after the source of the guns. They will be at prayer vigils, prayer marches, all of these things, regretting and lamenting the death of our children, and not one of them will point out that until we stop the flow of guns into our community, nothing is going to work. Every black child can have a job. Every black child can be a scholar. All of us can be law-abiding people. But as long as the guns are coming into our community, they talk to people. They seduce people. We are going to have the killings because the guns are being used only against us. Were this many gun deaths, this many gun injuries occurring in the white community, the first thing they say about that, we must go after those supplying the guns in the same way that the governor's wife, various mayors, police chiefs, county sheriffs have gotten together to say that when it comes to underage drinking, which affects young white people, we have to go after the adults who are supplying the liquor. When it came to methamphetamines, they didn't say the community has to stop it. They didn't say it's a problem of wrongful and poor parenting. They said it is a societal problem and the legislature must do something about it. So whenever a problem affects the white community, those in authority are going to take it seriously and do something about it. Alcohol in and of itself is not lethal. Guns are. So the only message I have to give today is that I'm going to continue to speak against those in law enforcement, those black elected officials who for some reason are afraid to talk about the source and ready availability of the guns. And I'll tell you some of those I've contacted. The chief of police, the county attorney, the city prosecutor, the head of the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Homeland Security, the U.S. Attorney. Now, if you, head of the State Patrol, if you all know somebody else I can contact, let me know. But the contacting is to no avail until our community focuses on what is killing us. Then we are going to continue to have the problems. I want to now end by mentioning that Brother Hamilton, Brother McClarty, and the others who put together this rally are to be recognized and acknowledged, and white people need to know that there is not just one person who is going to do things in our community. There is not just one person who speaks for our community. There is not just one person who can rally the community. And I think I've said quite enough, so thank you.
Thank you, Willie. I'll try to be brief also. First, if you have not signed up yet, there's a clipboard on the ironing board table over here to my right. If you sign up before you leave so we know who is here, how to reach you, because there will be other events we want to call you about or email you, contact you in some way. We cannot let this die, so we need your contact information. That's very important. And I'm so glad to see over 100 people here. I stood up here and counted. There's over 100 people here. Give yourself a hand.
Amen.
I've been involved in this for a few years with Willie and many other people. And I too want to thank Willie for putting this together and everybody else who's been around the table. There have been a dozen and more of us, 15 of us sometimes at planning meetings. And that's just great. A white, black, brown faces around the table when we're doing this. This is not a black issue, it's not a white issue, it's not a brown issue. It's an Omaha issue that we all need to pull together and stop it. So I think some pieces of paper were handed out with phone numbers on it for our city council. Their general number, if you don't don't have a piece of paper, I've got it memorized because I call it way too much. It's 444-5520. Call that number during the day. They've turned off their answering machine, maybe because I've left too many messages after hours. I don't know what. But you have to call them during the day now. No answering machine on that. And on Saturday, the first Saturday of this coming month at Washington Branch Library from noon until 2 o'clock, I want people to turn out that have stories to tell about police violence against yourselves, against your family, against your friends. We need to collect more comments, more stories about this to share with the Federal Justice Department, with our City Council, with our Mayor. So please come out the first Saturday from any time between noon and 2 o'clock. I've talked with people that have this violence perpetrated on them, and it has to stop. And we need a police auditor. When you call the City Council, you need to tell them we need a police auditor now. We cannot wait for the city charter to be changed.
Again, Ms. Kristen Bond.
Good afternoon. It's great to see everyone here. I first came to Omaha 10 years ago to take the job as the police auditor. Tristan Bond, ex-police auditor. Tristan Bond, ex-police auditor. 10 years ago. You won the fight to get an auditor 10 years ago. 5 years ago, Mike Fahey fired me for reporting on improper traffic stops conducted by the police. Today, it seems like we're going backwards. It's deja vu all over again. We fought this fight. We demand to have what we fought for and won in place. We can't keep kicking it down the road, pointing at funding and other red herrings, false reasons why we don't have accountability and transparency from the police department. And I'm going to say something fairly bold. I've been at this for many years now, and in my opinion, the single biggest impediment to police reform is the police union. And what we need to do is ask our elected leaders to start choosing us. Choose the community over the police union so that we can have the police department that we all deserve. The police department that is free from abuse and misconduct and secrecy and graft. That's the police department we're entitled to. And that requires some political will from our leaders. And that's what I'm out here speaking for today. Give Omaha the police department it deserves.
Yes. I thought I saw Ms. Cheryl Weston. I wanted to give her an opportunity if you want to say anything. If not, then we're going to bring up a couple of folks. Can I bring your name?
My name's Deshaun.
Yeah, you need a speaker.
Can you hear me? Yes. My name's Deshaun. Like a lot of you, I'm just a private citizen that's here. You may have noticed I have a camera. My issue with the police comes from they seem to think that because I live downtown and take pictures and I'm brown that I'm a terrorist and feel the need to stop me from taking pictures of First National Bank. So I've heard it said twice today that the media does need to do a better job. I was on the public sidewalk, well within my rights. First National Bank security came out, said, hey, you gotta leave. No, it's the sidewalk. They called the police show up. Hey, have they explained their policy? Their policy doesn't extend to the sidewalk.
Yes.
I heard some people say talk about it. I don't know if you heard it, but I said the police told me to move taking pictures off the sidewalk. And they said, well, there's a reason, you can't take pictures of the tallest building in town. And I asked them, I said, why? Is it because I'm brown? My dad is black, my mom is white, but I look different. People that are not white in Omaha face racial discrimination, whether you're light colored, dark colored, in between, whatever. But the point is, the police assault our civil liberties, beat us, and get paid more than teachers to do that. So, and the other thing I want to say is it is important that people have cameras or stuff when they do have the police, because I asked people to stop in that situation and be a witness because I was being harassed, and no one did. When you are on a public sidewalk and you're asking for help from people and they just walk by, I don't know if anyone has ever felt that lonely. You don't see your own people just walk by and let the police do that to you. But we understand that, but other people don't, and they need to see it. So if you have cameras, film the police, take pictures. You never know, you might catch them doing something wrong. And, you know, I did. I recorded it. I had to get the ACLU on it. They let it to Alex Hayes in the bank. So, you know, the people need to know their rights and stand up for them. And like I told the guy, just because you have a badge and a uniform does not supersede my, you know, humanity.
You're lucky you're alive.
I really, you know what, it wasn't even until I walked away that I was like, damn, you know, something could have happened, but I had my camera with me and that was the only witness I had. So, if you're alone, have a camera, you know, but watch the police because they're watching you. Thank you.
I want to make sure I say something. All the individuals who have filed a complaint with the Omaha Police Department should be applauded because it takes a lot of courage to be able to go into that environment and to suffer a lot of retaliation, intimidation regarding those folks. So I want to make it clear, I wouldn't be doing what I was doing if I didn't see individuals standing up and say, look, I know I'm going to have to go through some things, I know they're going to be messing with me, but I'm going to try to make a difference by filing a complaint. So if you know of an individual who's taking a stand like that, you really need to go up to them and applaud them and give them thanks and be supportive of what they're doing. So I want to say thank you to all the individuals who have shown the courage and determination to say, not on my watch. So big up to all those folks.